Gamers, we are back. I have been live on Twitch for 14 hours. It's 2 a.m., but it's time for another guide. Jeanne d'Arc, or some people like to call her John Wick. I like to call her JD because I can't pronounce her name. So, this is going to be the Season 6 guide for this civilization, or variant, whatever you want to call it. We're playing against Donardi, who played Delhi in this one, but it kind of showcases how you want to play her, the general idea of how you want to play her, and hopefully I give you guys some insight in how to work with her in Season 6. A lot of people say it's just basically French. Yes, it's a variant of French, but there's a lot of small things you gotta pay attention to in order to actually win with this civ, because there's a lot of things that she does not have that French does. So first things first, in my opinion, she is very good as a civilization to play against civs that want to fight in feudal. The best way to play against her is to simply not fight, because you're giving her experience. So if you're playing Jeanne d'Arc, you want to be playing very aggressive and you want to force your opponents to fight, because you want to trade units so you can level up your hero. Now, I do have a video called Everything You Need to Know About Jeanne d'Arc, so if you haven't watched that one first, watch it. Let's get started. So there's multiple playstyles and variations with this civ, but I have been doing this one and I've been doing it very, very successfully. I think I won like all of my games that I played with her, so it works. First thing you want to do is put all the villagers on sheep, and you want to put Jeanne d'Arc to build a house, because she gets more experience building stuff than she does gathering. Once she does that, you can put her back on sheep. Now, I like to put her back on sheep because she's gathering right here next to the town center, and you want to minimize the travel time with her. Some people like to put her to build a mining camp to get a little bit more XP and then mine gold. But by the time you travel there, I am not actually sure how much extra XP you're going to get anyway. And with the build that I'm doing, I am getting level 2 as she ages up to feudal, so you're going to be just fine. I'm sure there's going to be different variations of this build in the future that are going to be more efficient, but I wanted to get this guide out there for you guys so that you can start playing her with a good plan in mind, and of course to ruin the game. Me, of course, with the guides. That's a little mean. Now, we're going to go 7 on food, and we're going to go 3 on gold. 4 on gold, because we do want to produce knights, and we do want to age up as fast as possible. After we put 4 on gold, we're going to rally onto the food in order to get that 400, 200. Now, one thing that you can do, that you should do, is number 1, you need to find both boars. Not as soon as possible, but you need to know where they are when your hero reaches level 2. And number 2 is try to keep track of where the wolves are. It's pretty important. So try to make mental notes. You know, maybe I go here and I say, okay, there's a boar, there's a wolf. Okay, there's a wolf next to the boar. You know, if you keep scouting and then you see, let's see, some place that has 2 wolves maybe, or like this, you see triple wolf. You're like, okay, I can go to the bottom right, kill the boar for XP, and then I go north where I have triple wolf. So try to keep mental notes of where the wolves are, because they give you XP when you kill them at level 2. And yeah, so right now we're about to level up, or sorry, we're about to age up, and we're gonna go with School of Cavalry, and we're only going to build School of Cavalry with her. The reason for that is she's getting 4 XP every second, almost every 2 seconds, so she's gonna be building that for a while. And if you look, right now she is approximately 200 XP when you start the age up. By the time the age up is complete, she will be age 2 or level 2. I keep confusing age and level. So after this, we're gonna keep 7 workers on food because we want to produce knights. We're gonna keep 4 on gold, and we're going to start rallying villagers onto the woodline. I'm building the mill for the wheelbarrow. I'm not sure if I actually move another villager. You definitely don't need 8. You can be with 7. But I've been playing and streaming so much I might have left 8. 7 is fine on food. So now you would have 7, 4, 4. So what I want to do here is I want to get wheelbarrow, and the reason I'm mining so much gold is because I want to get all the eco upgrades immediately, and I want to fight and force my opponent to fight against me. Now in the future I will be releasing 2 TC build with Jeanne d'Arc at some point, most likely. But for now I wanted to teach you guys the 1 TC aggression. So right here, around 60-70%, you can add another worker. You can also, if it's easier, if it's maybe too specific or too complicated, you can just age up with 1 worker plus Jeanne d'Arc from the get-go. But I added around 60% just to speed up that last part, because you don't need it the full way through. But again, you can also just age up with 1 villager and her. It's gonna be more than fine. So we got wheelbarrow going, we got a house building, we're gonna get a lumber camp, and the idea is to immediately produce knights and get the upgrades. Now, what is the difference between Jeanne d'Arc and French, for example, in this? Well, first of all, you need a bit more resources because your gathering buildings cost normal price, 50. Second is your goal with Jeanne d'Arc is not to rush out a knight and get it across the map, okay? That is not your goal. You can't do that the first few days on the ladder because people will probably be scared of the knights. But what your opponent is supposed to do is actually chase your hero and kill her and not let her get experience. So what the opponent should do against her is actually kill the wolves and potentially not deny the boar, but fight around the boar and not let her kill the boar. So if you're playing against Jeanne d'Arc, try to kill wolves once you're done scouting with the sheep, because you will deny massive amounts of XP. So what I want to do with this first night is usually go with Jeanne d'Arc if you see that the enemy is trying to stop you from leveling. If you see that your opponent is playing defensive, then you can just send the knight across the map and you can try to do damage. So some games some games that I've had, my opponents open horsemen immediately and try to chase her and kill her or not let her get experience. If the opponent is opening barracks and then they're just chilling back at home, you can go across the map and harass them. So just letting you know, be careful, because once people learn that they're supposed to go after her and not let you just do whatever you want, you need to use knights to protect her. Now, there are 2 options for Jeanne d'Arc, and that is... I already clicked it. I thought I had it. There's 2 forms, or 2 level ups. One is the melee form, and the other one is the ranged form. Now, I personally prefer the melee, the heavy melee infantry, aka woman at arms. Now, you can go archer. In my opinion, archer is good against like Order of the Dragon, or maybe HRE, or maybe against civs that are super passive and they don't want to fight on the map, so you can use the arrow to snipe villagers and stuff. But if you're going to be fighting out on the map and your opponent is going to be fighting on the map, I definitely suggest the melee infantry, aka women at arms. So the first thing you're going to do the moment she levels up, you're going to instantly try to go for the boar. The boar, right now, in order to get level 3, you need another 500 experience. You get small XP over time, but what you want to do is go kill the boar, because the boar gives 50 experience once you kill it, which is pretty big. So another thing you're noticing is I'm getting all my eco upgrades because I'm going to be staying in feudal for a while with this build, so I want the upgrades immediately so I can get the value ASAP. Now, with this build, you will also be able to continuously produce knights. As you can see, I have a knight queued up. And right after that one is finished making, I'm going to queue up another one. So, right now, we got 8-8-4 split. And I'm going to keep rallying onto the wood until I have more archer ranges and until I have blacksmith. So what I suggest you doing is always move your Jeanne d'Arc across the map, because you might run into wolf that you missed or something, and she's gonna end up just, you know, killing the wolf. Each wolf, I think, gives 12 XP, and obviously killing enemy units gives XP too. Now, warning, if the opponent is killing the boar right here, and you walk into the range with the hero, even though you haven't touched the hero, even though you haven't killed the hero as Jeanne d'Arc, you will still get experience. So that's a note for both the enemies of this civ and the people who are playing this civ. Killing wolves and boars in the vicinity of Jeanne d'Arc will still give her XP. So be aware of that. So behind this, we're gonna go on archer range in a moment. And from the abilities Consecrate, you will use this first in this specific order. You're going to use it on your main town center, which is going to reduce the villager production cost. You're going to use it on School of Cavalry, and then you're going to use it on your archer ranges, and that's your prio. TC, School of Cavalry, archer ranges. You can engage the boar, don't worry about it, the boar will definitely not kill the hero. You can just move it. As melee, you can't really do any micro. As range, you can... as archer Jeanne d'Arc, by the way, you can also kill boar solo. You can also kite to take less damage, but yeah. Your hero will regen, so don't worry about it. So this game, I was chatting a lot with Twitch chat, so I wasn't actually paying attention at all where the wolves are. So you can see me just kind of running around. And he also has killed some wolves, by the way, in the map, which is why I couldn't find them. But... you can see me running around trying to get XP. So the point of this civ is not like French. French is like, you make a knight, and if you're doing this 1TC aggression, you immediately make an archer range, you immediately push, and you're like trying to prevent them from doing anything. With Jeanne d'Arc, you actually want to clear all the wolves, all the boar on the map that there is, and then you want to start fighting to get more XP. So your goal isn't to necessarily push out immediately, and you know, you want to get the free XP first. If your opponent is playing passive, you do want to use knights to keep them busy, but make sure you get all the neutral stuff like wolves and boar first. Behind this, I got an archer range, producing archers, producing knights. I will have Consecrate in a little bit, and right now I'm going to have 13 or 12 or 13 villagers on wood, and then I'm going to revert back to rallying onto the food. So, even though I'm on one town center, one thing to have in mind, and even though, let's say, opponent has now 2 town centers, all my eco upgrades are in, except horticulture, which I'll get in a moment, and I'm getting +1 range attack, and my villagers are going to be cheaper in a second. They're going to cost 37. So even though you're 1 TC, you actually have quite a few resources to work with because of all these economy boosts. So I'm trying to find more wolves. Like I said, I didn't do a good job paying attention. And he decides to go for a very early Sacred Side cap. He's trying to wall up the Sacred Side. And I decide to prevent it. And this is perfect case scenario for me. If you're playing Jeanne d'Arc and the opponent wants to fight, that's literally what you want. Now, this civ is very hero focused. Very, very hero focused. So losing a hero every time is really, really bad. So try not to lose it. You know, just don't lose it for it. The reason why losing a hero is terrible, because it has a 2-minute respawn time. Now you can't buy her back. It costs 100 gold at level 1, 250 gold at level 2, 500 gold at level 3, and 1000 gold at level 4. So losing her is really bad. It's not that you only lose the potential to gain experience. What you also lose is your abilities refreshing, or you know, you gaining the ability stacks. So what does this mean? If the hero was to die now, I would still have 2 out of 4. I would have this ability, and I would have this 1 out of 4. But you see this little blue line on top? That would not be going and getting new stacks. So basically, if I were to lose the hero for 2 minutes, I would miss out on a full Consecrate, and the Consecrate lasts forever. So I would lose the potential. Like if the hero dies now and I use Consecrate on TC, then I would lose a Consecrate on my stables, which reduces the Royal Knight costs from 140 to like 105, 110. I can't remember the exact amount. It's too late to do any math. So it is pretty big deal. And that's why when you play against her, it is very important to try to prevent her from getting XP and actually killing her. This Civ goes from pretty meh if you don't level her properly to like hero is literally a hero where it's hard to kill it. So yeah. So I'm late a little bit here with Consecrate. Again, new Civ, you know, new gameplay. So I get very surprised that he's already trying to work this super hard in. Now, obviously this is a, you know, playing against another very good player. So, you know, I'm not expecting you guys to micro at this level, but your opponent will not micro at this level either. But basically, army comp wise, you do want to go knights plus archers, like French. And what you want to do is, whenever possible, you want to get in there with her in melee and do Holy Wrath, which is a AoE ability that deals 20 damage to all the units around her. And whenever you can, you don't want to like run into the enemy just to use that, but if you can get 3-4 units with it, that's good value. Now, Divine Restoration has 2-minute cooldown, and one thing to note, it does not restore 30% of your health, it restores 30% of the unit's missing health, okay? So you want to use this ability when a bunch of your units are low or Jeanne is about to die. The lower HP you are, you get more value out of it. So so you can see I'm getting 14 XP for Ghazi Raider and 8 experience for Horseman. So if we look back to the normal thing, if you look, I'm already almost at 200 XP. That Q right there that hit the units, look at their HP now. And I want to fight. Even if we're trading units, even if I'm trading a bit worse than my opponent, I still want to fight. Because once this hero gets level 3, you get a massive power spike. There we go, another Q, doing quite a bit of damage. I'm trying to hit Spearmen with her, because I want to, you know, kill Spearmen so my knights can do everything else. I use the heal ability. I get another Q here, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, another Q. And right now, I am more than half level on the way to level 3. Now, I think once the meta settles and once people learn how to play against her, people will avoid fighting her at all costs. To the point where I think if you're playing a civ like Delhi, you're probably not going to go for Sacred Sides. Instead, you're going to go for 2 town centers. Because that's how badly you don't want to feed her XP. It's really bad to feed her XP. I don't know how else to put it. The way it's supposed to work is she's supposed to be level 2 in Feudal, level 3 in Castle, level 4 in Imperial. But if you're having these fights in Feudal, she can get a level 3 in Feudal, and also she can get level 4 in Feudal, which, I mean, at that point, the game is over. She could probably kill you alone versus Feudal units. So, this game, like I said, even if I take a bad fight now, I felt really good. I killed one worker, but it's whatever. It's all about that XP with Jeanne d'Arc, and not so much about killing the enemy workers or you're gonna fall behind or whatever. Your main priority compared to French is to get the experience, and once you hit level 3 in Feudal, if that's possible, that's when your go time is to actually kill your opponent. So I'm trying to deny this again. I think I get... no, I don't Q here. Trying to do as much damage, plus 8 experience right there too. Meanwhile, back at home, look at the amount of upgrades that I have. I went on deer. I got the survival techniques for the deer as well. Here he gets a little dung goof with the spearman. I pick it off, plus 8 experience. Scholars give 13, I think, which is quite a bit more than a wolf. So I split my archers to get that. And usually these kinds of games where French is getting low on knights is not good against Delhi. Usually Delhi is the one that wants to fight and reduce the knight counter or knight numbers. But in this situation, it's actually okay. If this was French versus Delhi, I would probably be at a disadvantage because I have lower amount of units. and I don't have enough knights to fight this. But because we have the hero, the game is completely different. So, look at the Q now. Boom. Deals... Oh, I actually missed the spearman there. So he engages here. I get a little bit caught off guard. I use the heal, and I'm trying desperately to save the hero. He's surrounding it, which if you choose the melee version, surrounding her is not that great because she claps you with this and deals massive amounts of damage to everyone around her. It's basically, I just hit like 8 units, I think. So I just hit for 160 damage, which is obviously a shit ton. I'm trying to snipe the spearman just like you would playing French, and then I have knights killing the Ghazi Raiders. And I think I just heard the level up, so now I'm running away. I don't want to lose her, and my goal has been completed. So just to compare the stats, you know how tanky the Royal Knight is. In Feudal, Royal Knight that has 190 health, 3 armor, and 20 damage. Jeanne d'Arc has 450 health, 21 damage, and she has a charge attack. And now the ability, this one, W and E are the same. You get R, which is summon 3 units. So if you're in Feudal, now this is very important, depending which level 3 you're going to take, depends where in the game you are. Oh yeah, and she has 5 armor. So if you're fighting in Feudal, you want to take the man-at-arm option, 2 arms men, because those guys are basically men-at-arms, castle men-at-arms, that do bonus damage against spearmen, specifically, which you're going to see in a second. I use the Consecrate. I think I'm going to use 2 arms men now in a second. Now, if you're in castle and you're playing against a civ that produces a lot of crossbows, or the enemy has a lot of crossbows, you want to choose the cavalry one, because the cavalry one produces horsemen. It spawns horsemen that do bonus damage against crossbows specifically, and they're not armored, so they're made to counter crossbows. So if you're in castle and you're making knight's crossbow and opponent is making crossbow, don't make men-at-arms, because then you're just countering yourself. And here are the Jeanne's champions. Heavy melee infantry. Again, these guys are castle men-at-arms and they have 4 armor. They do 15 damage plus 8 versus spearmen. So these guys mow down spearmen really fast. And at this point, you might look at this and you're like, this is completely broken. It is, and that's why you're not supposed to let your opponent get her to level 3 in Feudal. If you do get her, if the opponent gets her to level 3 in Feudal, you're going to have a very, very, very bad time. So, yeah. Now, another thing that happened is Holy Wrath ability scaled, and now he's doing 35 damage in AoE. And we got another ability. We got increased regen from 1.5 to 2 health per second while out of combat. At level 3, Jeanne takes 50% less damage from ranged attacks. This is only from level 3, and then level 4 is 66%, which makes her borderline immune to getting sniped by archers. Because she has now 6 armor with upgrade, so archers do 1 damage against her. And even if they did 2 damage, split by half, they will do 1 damage. So archers are basically, you know, she can run under TC and the TC is hitting her for 1. So, yeah. So now, look at the damage when I do the Q. You will see in a second. Look at the spearman health. It just goes down insane amounts. And look at this. He is hitting the hero. Now we have a little bit of micring here. Maybe I overextended there a little bit. He put 1 Ghazi Raider on her. And now the micring begins. Again, you want to keep her alive at all costs. If I did lose her, I would immediately rebuy her. Okay, if you have the option, you want to immediately purchase her back. So the micring is happening. He's sending more Ghazi Raiders to try and get her. I run into the stealth forest, so he loses vision. Divine Restoration, 3, 2, Ghazi Raider hits. Divine Restoration hits as well. Saved. And meanwhile, the spearmen have been farmed. Look at this. These men-at-arms have been literally tanking the whole rest of the army. Meanwhile, I use another Q there. Massive amounts of damage to the units. And at this point, it's not only bad, it is borderline awful for him. Because my XP is going up, and level 4 requires 1,500 XP. So it requires quite a bit more. But this is like the perfect game for me. This is like how Jeanne d'Arc is perfectly supposed to be played, and the game went perfect for me. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better game. We've been fighting the whole time. I've been getting good engages. I've been getting a villager kill here and there. I've been using my, what's it called? Consecrate on my buildings. You can see right here. I have both stables consecrated for reduced cost. So my knights cost 105. I got Archer Rage consecrated, TC consecrated, and I just keep producing more and more. One thing to note is, I get asked this in Twitch chat sometimes, you can reach level 4 with Jeanne d'Arc in Feudal Age. And if you reach level 4, she gets like 700 health, and she gets a hand cannon attack. She gets a siege attack. She takes 66% reduced damage from range. And she gets an ultimate ability, which is either an AoE attack speed for everyone, or she makes one unit greatly empowered. So the knight goes from like 200 health to like 600 health. And not only that, if you go with the field commander, you will be summoning 7 men-at-arms that are now Imperial stats. So one thing to note, I am pretty sure that this is the case. Her men-at-arms don't upgrade when you age up. Her men-at-arms upgrade when you level up to level 4. So that's one thing to note. So her men-at-arms would not only now you spawn 7, but they're also Imperial. Now the other thing is, people ask me, can you actually summon a cannon? And the answer is yes. It is possible to reach level 4 with Jeanne d'Arc in Feudal and spawn a French cannon in Feudal Age. And here in a moment, again, this is my timing to go. I want to fight right now while the hero is juiced up and while I have my advantage. He will go for an engage here. And I managed to get a thick Q there. As you can see, a lot of damage being done. My heal ability is almost back online. And she is very deceiving in terms of HP. Sometimes you think, oh, she's about to die, like now, but she has 120 health, by the way. So right now, it looks like she's about to die, about to get picked off, but she almost has, she has more than half the health of a Royal Knight, so yeah. The heal comes through, and of course, the Consecrate ability, over time, you're going to be adding more and more production, more and more villagers, so you're going to have more and more economy. And you just keep bumping units. Now, there's another way to play her like this, but there's just a little small adjustment. And that small adjustment is you go for an, one archer range or 2 and 1 stable. And what you want to do is constantly produce out of those, put pressure like I did. But in the back of it, you don't actually commit to feudal. You actually start working towards castle. And then once you age up to castle, you throw down like 2 or 3 barracks, and then you consecrate the barracks, 1, 2 of them, however many consecrates you have at that point, and then you produce cheaper men-at-arms, and then you all in with kind of like castle men-at-arms, you know, kind of one of those builds where you like a burger, you know, kind of thing. But obviously you would still have other units with that as well. Can we beat her with trade? It's going to be very hard to trade against her because she has knights, so you don't want to trade against civs that have knights and feudal. There it is. My advice with her, get neutral creeps as fast as possible and try to force fights with your opponent. If you're struggling to get damage against your opponents because they're camping in their base or something, try the ranged version of the hero. It's still good, it's still okay. I just prefer the melee. If you're playing against her, avoid fighting in feudal. If you fight in feudal, eventually she will level up to level 3 and you will lose the game. So there it is. That is a fast little guide. I think this style that I just did is very viable. I have won all my games, even against like top players. Like recently I played against Poppy Point Marine Lord, Jeanne d'Arc versus Jushi's Legacy with this style, and I managed to win both games. It's very, very, very strong because of the level 3 hero in Feudal. In the future I will do more macro based build, but that's it for now. This is just something to get you started, and I actually think it's a pretty solid build. It's not one of those where it's a new expansion, let me just throw out a build out there. I think this build is pretty solid and will probably remain a good build for a very long time. So YouTube gamers, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Check me out on Twitch. I'm probably live right now since I'm always live. And I will see you in another day with another guide, another video. Twitch gamers, let's keep going.